Welcome back to Freshly Brewed Comics.
After a short hiatus, your favorite comic book show has returned.
And today, we're going to be talking about a modern comic book masterpiece.
Nemesis by Mark Millar.
And Steve McNivens.
Stay tuned.
So Vic, what have you been reading?
So, I managed to catch up on HARROW County, written by Cullen Bunn, with art by Tyler Crook. Beautiful art, I want to say right off the bat. Beautiful hand-painted watercolor and oil-painted art.
Love the watercolor.
And especially in this oversized library edition, it's beautiful. So HARROW County follows 17-year-old Emmy in her town, HARROW County. And it follows her life as she's part of like a prophecy in the town.
Okay.
So 18 years ago, before she was born, there was a witch who the town was able to they were able to kill her and get rid of her. But she said, she cursed them and said she would be back. So Emmy is the new incarnation of this evil witch. And it said in a prophecy that on her 18th birthday, she was going to be re-released.
Oof. And she's 17?
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's like days before.
No.
Yeah. It's like days before her 18th birthday. So it's a really interesting story. It's very spooky. Just in time for Halloween around the corner. And yeah, I just think it's a beautifully well-written story with even more beautiful art. And these library editions, I heard they might be going out of print.
Yeah, they've been going in and out of print. Dark Horse is pretty good with keeping stuff in print, though. So I think I wouldn't be too worried. So.
Right, but if you are worried, get it. You gotta You have to experience this art and this beautiful story in this oversized form.
What's cover price on that? Sorry to interrupt.
Cover price? No, it's fine. They're $40 each.
40 each? So yeah, you could probably find it online for $20-$25.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
And the 4th library edition is coming out in November, I believe, November 5th.
Okay.
So that will finish the entire run, but there's 3 out right now. So yeah, you get a head start reading it before the 4th one comes out.
Lots of extras too, right?
Yes, half of this is really, it's all sketchbooks and art layouts and stuff like that.
You have scripts?
Yeah, scripts, everything. So it's really interesting, and it's so cool to see how he plans out his watercolor art, Tyler Crook, because when he was writing it, when he first started coloring it, I should say, that he laid it out differently, and then later on, like in the 2nd or 3rd library edition, you see that he did it differently, and he says it in the notes. He's like, oh, I started blocking it out in a simpler way and not such a tedious way like I started. So it's cool because you could even see how his art evolves as the story goes on and stuff like that. And it's beautiful.
That's pretty cool.
I really recommend this.
HARROW County.
HARROW County. So Jake, what have you read in our brief hiatus?
So, in our brief hiatus, I managed to read through all of Jason Lutz's Berlin. I'm a man that reads a lot of books. I read a lot. I got a lot of books. And this is one of the best books I've ever read.
Wow.
Jason Lutz's Berlin, it took him, I think, 25 years to make.
I was going to say, I knew it took him
something
a while.
like that. It took him like 25 years to make. He was publishing it bi-monthly, and each issue is like 50 pages. Mm-hmm. So you would pretty much get 2 issues every 2 months.
Yeah.
But it tells the story of Berlin from like the late post-World War I, pre-World War II, and it shows the lives of a bunch of different characters in Berlin. Mm-hmm. There's a journalist. There's a woman that moves there for art school. There's a little girl who eventually becomes homeless. Spoilers. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it tells the story of all these characters over the course of like 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. And it's just beautifully written and drawn. Just the way each character comes in and out of each other's lives. And they're all like separate stories, but they intersect quite a lot. There's a lot of historical accuracies too.
Right, I was going to say, isn't this book 100% historically accurate?
Yeah. There's like, Jason Lutz has a whole citation in the background. It's like 3 or 4 pages of just
That's
pure
awesome.
citations, and it's like small font too, so it's a lot of citations.
A lot of sources.
But it's just crazy. It's so well written. It's so well researched. It's so well drawn. I really just love all the characters. It kind of details, because, like, I knew Karl Marx was from Germany, but I didn't know how prevalent communism was in Germany. Because in high school and college, they only really tell you that, it's like, post-World War I, Nazis rose up.
Yeah.
But in this, you see the conflict between the Nazis and the Communist Party. Because the Communist Party was huge in Berlin. And Berlin was also the hotspot in Europe for the LGBT community. So there's actually transgender and gay characters in this back in, like, the early 30s. And I'm like, damn!
That's dope.
It also has the rise of jazz music in Berlin. And a bitch loves jazz!
A bitch loves jazz!
It's really good. Like, it's really quality. The way Jason Lutz draws it, writes it, like, it's all so intricately crafted.
Oh, he does all of it?
Yeah, he writes, draws letters. It's all hand-lettered, too.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's so good. Like... And it's just such a huge cast of characters that I've only really seen in stuff like Saga.
Like Saga, yeah.
But he obviously takes a lot of inspiration from Will Eisner and Will Eisner's graphic novels. Mm-hmm. Like, this is very similar to Contract with God, which is another one of my favorite books ever. That book is so good.
Now, is that book, can you easily find that? Is it easily accessible in, like, comic book stores and stuff?
I think Berlin is in print. You could get this. This is the complete hardcover, published by Drawn and Quarterly, who also published the singles. And there's also 3 trade paperbacks of this. So it's 3 volumes, 1 hardcover, or 20-something issues. I think it's 28. Don't quote me on that. Vic will have a little asterisk at the bottom.
We'll put it at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Berlin by Jason Lutz is one of the best things I've ever read, and I really, really, really love it, and I really want everyone to read it, because it's perfect.
Awesome. Now we're going to talk about a book that's awful.
Nemesis by Mark Millar and Steve McNivens.
We don't like this book.
We don't like this book at all.
We've been positive for 10 episodes. But we each read this book, and we had to take a 3-week break to recover from reading Nemesis.
I knew it was bad. And, because I've been frequenting comic book forums online for, like, years. And this book, when people talk about worst comic books ever, this is pretty common, like, thrown throughout there. And Mark Millar is a very hit or miss writer. You either really like Mark Millar or you really hate Mark Millar. We're on the I don't like Mark Millar. We're on the
not his train. We're not on his train.
I really like all of his Superman stuff. Mark Millar, for some reason, being the edgy bastard he is, really understands Superman, which is really weird. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because he spent all of his early career hanging out with Grant Morrison.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah.
He was actually Grant Morrison's protege.
Get out!
Yeah, they co-wrote a lot of stuff together. But, I mean, like, it sucks. I've heard really good things about Millar and some of his work, like Huck. A lot of people said Huck's really good.
Right, I've heard about that.
Huck's also one of his Superman analogs, though. He has a lot of those. Like, in the back of this book, there is an advertisement for a book he did with Lionel Francis Yu, who's a really good artist, called, what the fuck is this called? Superior. And I wonder who that is. Big man in cape. It's Superman. But, he did Red Sun, which I like.
Right, I like Red Sun a lot. I thought that was very cool.
And
that's being adapted into an animated series.
Yeah. A lot of Mark Millar's work is super popular. I mean, you have Logan, Civil War.
But this isn't one of them.
This is not one of them. But apparently Brad Pitt is supposed to play Nemesis. This movie's there's been an option.
There's a movie coming out of this?
No, it's been in the works for years. And it's supposed to be Brad Pitt as Nemesis. Is like what Mark Millar, he'll come out and he'll like spur up rumors of the Nemesis movie like once a year. And he's been doing it since like this book came out. And he's always said Brad Pitt's playing Nemesis.
No!
So Vic, tell me and the kind folks at home, what is Nemesis about?
So, the initial pitch for Nemesis is the following sentence, which I will change slightly to avoid being too explicit on the show. So, what if Batman was an asshole?
Yeah.
Nemesis.
Pretty much.
So, this book follows Nemesis, who's notorious for killing police officers in Tokyo and in
other parts of the world.
In other parts of the world. But then he comes to New York.
No, he comes to DC. DC,
right.
yeah. Because he starts the book by jumping on Air Force One.
Yeah.
And kidnapping the president. He jumps on a plane and
on top of the plane.
Breaks into Air Force One and steals the president.
And he steals the president. And,
Because, like, the best... Oprah's favorite cop.
Oh my god.
Where is it? So this guy walks up to...
is this the Oprah part?
Blake Morrow, who is, Blake Morrow is, the cop.
That's the commissioner's name.
And he goes, "Are you kidding? You're Oprah's favorite cop, sir." How? Does Oprah have a segment on her show that goes,
"You get a cop."
And
you get a cop.
Time to talk about, let's highlight some of our boys in blue today.
Boys in blue.
Blake Morrow, my favorite cop. Doesn't make any sense.
That also implies that Oprah has frequent run-ins with the chief of police, which is a whole nother can of worms we don't have time to unpack today.
The cop that he's trying to kill throughout, like, the course of the book, who's... I mean, if you read it, it's obvious that he's, like, a Jim Gordon stand-in.
Right.
Because it's supposed to be Batman versus Jim Gordon instead of Batman and Jim Gordon being together.
Right.
So it's like...
Because he's a cop, he's a family man, he has 2 kids and a wife, and all this kind of stuff, and he's like...
And someone says he's Oprah's favorite cop. I don't know why Oprah would have a favorite cop. I don't know why anyone would have a favorite cop.
Why is Oprah even mentioned? Yeah, exactly. Why would she have a favorite police officer?
Why would anyone have a favorite police officer?
Yeah, Detective Johnson.
Yeah, unless you're their mother, their spouse.
That's the only reason. It doesn't make any sense. So, this book, and he also, he's like the Batman. He's like, a stand-in for Batman, but also a stand-in for some Batman villains. Like, he has, like, a calling card that he gives to the cop, and that's how the cop knows, like, he's coming, is, like, a calling card. And then there's a scene...
He gives him, like, a time and date on when he's
it's March 12th, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
At midnight. But then there's a scene later on where Nemesis is in his, like, bat cave with his henchmen, and he's sitting on a chair, and he goes, "Time to think of some riddles." And he sits there, and he's, you can't... Oh, the dialogue's garbage. It's, like, run-on sentences.
There's grammatical errors.
Grammatical errors, yeah, like, multiple. Stupid, everybody curses. Like, everybody. Like... There's like a bank robbery, and every bystander's like, "Holy fucking shit!" And it's like, why do you have to, like, you wouldn't say all of those. And then there's one, my favorite one.
My favorite one
this
is
guy
in the prison.
Goes, "Shit and fuck."
Shit
like,
and
that's
fuck.
the dialogue box. And, like, you don't...
It's like shit, and then the "and" is bold, too, so it's even worse.
Shit and fuck.
Pretty awful. I mean, the only saving grace is, I'd say McNivens' art.
Yeah.
Because his pencil works, and McNivens' a very good artist, but I don't like the colors in this book.
The colors in
this book are very... It's like a very bland palette.
Yeah.
And a lot of McNivens' work, like, if you look
at... Like, these colors, that's it.
Like, if you look at, what's it called? His art from, like, Civil War, Old Man Logan... The colorist makes his art very dark, and it's shaded well, so it looks three-dimensional, and it looks... layered. Like, it looks good. But the coloring on this book is so... It's like a very simple, bland color scheme. And I don't like it. Like, it's really, really flat colors. And McNiven is a modern comic book artist. He doesn't work with flat colors.
Right.
You need like, a really complex color layout. Like, with weird mixed colors and mixed shadows and shit. You can't really have, like, a flat color layout for... Steve McNiven. Like, it just doesn't work. And, I mean, that's my criticism of the art. But, his line work's really good. And he does motion really well.
Yeah.
Like, all the fight scenes are good.
multiple fight scenes in this.
They're not bad.
And they're not bad. They look good. Yeah.
But it's like, it's mainly... The main problems with this book are the premise. The premise isn't even that bad. Like, I feel like a better writer could have executed it well.
Yeah.
Like, even though Alan Moore could get a little, edgy and circle jerky sometimes, I think Alan Moore would have executed something like this pretty well. But, like, why does he have to make it so edgy?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
No, I'd say the worst part about this book is probably the ending. So throughout the whole book, you know, they're trying to, like, figure out who Nemesis is, and they settle on, like, this rich kid who, like, his parents were, like, criminals, and they got stopped by cops, and that's why he kills cops, and I was like, okay, that's, like, a weird motivation, but I guess.
Yeah, because it's, like, kind of like Batman's origin story.
Yeah, it's, like, reverse Batman. Yeah. It's reverse Batman. Reverse Batman. And, I mean, I guess that's smart if you're trying to do a reverse evil Batman story, but, like, they revoke it. They're like, nah. He's like, nah, it's not me.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I didn't. That's not me.
He's like, yeah, not me at all.
They give him. He's got this bland name, like, what is it? It's like Matthew Johnson or something. Yeah, like totally really not bland. Superhero-y.
But then the ending, it's revealed, and so Nemesis, by the way, has been throughout the book. They say he's been around for a while, and eventually, at the ending, it's revealed that there's a mysterious benefactor that has been supplying him and gave him this fake identity as Nemesis throughout the entire, like, his whole lifespan as a villain, and it really doesn't make any sense.
Yup.
So it's like, how could someone orchestrate this whole thing and have Nemesis, like, I don't get it. How is there a mysterious benefactor pulling the strings, and how is he going to know that Nemesis is going to attack this guy at this amount, at this time?
Right.
And
apparently it's all pre-planned. Planned out already.
Because he sends a letter to the cop, because the cop survives, and he's eating dinner.
He sends a bottle of wine.
At a tropical island.
It's the world's most expensive bottle of wine the waiter has to throw in there.
And then he's like, where did you get this? He's like, I don't know. It's been sitting here for 30 years.
Yeah, he's like...
And I'm like, what the fuck?
He's like, a funny note, actually. I was told to do this 10 years ago. And they show a guy drinking whiskey on a beach, and it ends. And it's like, who the fuck was that guy?
Like, there's a mysterious benefactor pulling the strings that knew exactly how it was going to plan out.
Yeah.
Years prior. I don't know exactly how long ago it was. Was it 10?
It was 10 years, yeah.
That's so stupid. He goes 10 years in advance, I'm going to send this ridiculously superpowered individual to murder a bunch of police around the world, and it's going to end with fighting this guy. But the guy in DC, he's going to beat him. Right. He's going to shoot him in the head, and he's going to kill Nemesis. But then I'm going to reveal that I was paying Nemesis the whole time, and I told him everything to do, and it's been 10 years.
Here's some wine.
And here's some wine. Because I knew exactly you were going to be here. On this exact day, at this exact time,
even
10 years prior.
The final fight scene between the cop and Nemesis is so stupid. They both are on the ground. They both got sprayed with bullets by other police officers, I'm pretty sure. And then they're on the ground, and they both pull guns on each other and shoot each other at the same time. And then other cops come over, and because the police commissioner is still breathing, so he's still kind of alive, but they don't know what's wrong with Nemesis. So they're like, one of the guys is like, maybe he's playing dead. And another police officer actually says, if he's playing dead, he's pretty fucking good at it. And it's like he just got blasted.
In the head.
In the
Nemesis
head. Like,
gets blasted
done.
Right in the dome. Like, he's dead. Like, there's a huge explosion where his head was.
Yup.
Like, nah, he's playing dead, even though he's got half a head.
Mm-hmm. It's very poorly written.
Poorly constructed, but it's really funny. It's really
funny. Hysterical. We hope you enjoyed our roast of Nemesis by Mark Millar this week on Freshly Brewed Comics, the show where we drink coffee and talk about some books.
And tune in next week for when we talk about some more comic books.
Thanks for watching.
My favorite is Down, Sir. We're gonna impact.
Yup.
We're gonna impact.
We're gonna impact.
No, impact approaching.
Nope.
It's just really awful dialogue. Like, awful dialogue. Awful dialogue choices. Awful run-on sentences.
Yeah.
Excessive profanity. It's really funny, though. Like, we're tearing it down. We're really,
really getting there. We're gonna do one negative episode every 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Every 11th episode is
We'll do a bad Mark Millar book.
No, well, just a book we don't really like.